All right, let's get one thing straight in soccer. Hype can be a dangerous thing. Some players get showered with praise, massive contracts, and headline after headline. But when it comes to delivering on the pitch, not so much. That's exactly what we're diving into today, the top 10 most overrated soccer players of all time. Now, let's be clear. Being overrated doesn't mean these players are bad. In fact, most of them are incredibly talented. But sometimes, the spotlight shines just a little too bright. Maybe it's because of a flashy transfer fee, a few highlight reel moments, or the media hyping them as the next big thing. Overrated simply means the gap between the hype and the actual performance is bigger than it should be. So sit back, because we're about to break down the players that had the world watching, but didn't always leave us impressed. First up on our list is none other than Paul Pogba. Look, Pogba is an incredible athlete, no one's denying that. Physically gifted, technically brilliant, and capable of jaw-dropping moments that light up stadiums. But here's the thing. Those moments are way too rare for a player who's been hyped as one of the best midfielders in the world for years. Let's break it down. Pogba's return to Manchester United in 2016 was one of the most expensive transfers in soccer history at the time. A whopping 116 million. For that kind of money, you'd expect week in, week out dominance, right? But instead, Pogba's United career was a roller coaster of inconsistency. One game, he'd control the midfield like a maestro, and the next, he'd disappear completely. Injuries didn't help his case, but even when he was fit, his impact was often underwhelming, especially in crucial games. And let's not forget the attitude question marks. Pogba's flair and confidence are great when things are going well, but when United struggled, his body language and effort were often criticized by fans and pundits alike. Despite flashes of brilliance, like his incredible 2018 World Cup run with France, Pogba never seemed to fully deliver on the massive expectations that followed him at the club level. The talent is there, but the output just doesn't match the hype. That's why Paul Pogba kicks off our list as one of the most overrated soccer players of all time. Next up, we have Neymar Jr., a name that instantly sparks debate. There's no denying Neymar's skills. He's flashy, creative, and capable of moments of pure magic that leave defenders twisted and fans out of their seats. But when you peel back the layers, the hype surrounding Neymar often outweighs his actual contributions, especially when it comes to delivering on the biggest stages consistently. Let's talk numbers. In 2017, Neymar made headlines with his record-breaking 263 million transfer to Paris Saint-Germain, the highest in soccer history. This move was supposed to elevate both Neymar and PSG to Champions League glory, but it didn't quite pan out that way. Despite dominating the French league, which, let's be honest, isn't the most competitive in Europe, Neymar's time in Paris was riddled with injuries, drama, and questionable work ethic. When PSG needed him most in critical Champions League knockout games, Neymar was either sidelined or underperformed. And let's not overlook his tendency for theatrics. Neymar's diving and exaggerated reactions became a meme, overshadowing his actual talent. Sure, he dazzles with the ball, but the constant showboating and unnecessary flair often raise questions. Is he playing to win or just to entertain? While his skill is undeniable, the lack of consistency at the highest level, paired with the sky-high expectations, makes Neymar a textbook case of an overrated player. Despite being one of the most talented players of his generation, Neymar's career feels like a series of what-ifs, rather than defining moments. That's why he lands a spot on this list. Coming in at number 3 is Mario Balotelli, one of the most unpredictable and polarizing players soccer has ever seen. Balotelli is the definition of raw talent mixed with unrealized potential. On his day, he could score absolute screamers and dominate defenses, but those days were few and far between. Despite the natural gifts, Balotelli's career became more about his off-the-field antics than his performances on it. Let's rewind to his time at Manchester City. Balotelli had flashes of brilliance. Who could forget his "why always me" celebration during the iconic 6-1 demolition of Manchester United? But for every highlight, there were countless frustrating moments where Balotelli's discipline, or lack thereof, held him back. Red cards, missed training sessions, and constant clashes with coaches became the norm. Even Pep Guardiola, one of the greatest managers of all time, famously said Balotelli was uncoachable after leaving City. His career became a tour across Europe, bouncing from Milan to Nice, Marseille, and Brest, never quite finding a stable home. While his physical presence and technical ability were undeniable, his inconsistency and questionable decision-making consistently derailed his progress. It felt like he was always one step away from becoming world-class, but he never took that final leap. Balotelli's story is one of wasted potential. He had all the tools to be one of the best strikers of his generation, but instead, he's remembered more for fireworks in his bathroom and training ground bust-ups than his goal-scoring record. That's why Mario Balotelli comfortably earns his spot on this list of the most overrated soccer players of all time. Next on the list is Jack Grealish, a player who perfectly embodies the phrase style over substance. Grealish has the look, the swagger, and the silky dribbling that gets fans excited. But when you strip away the hype, his actual output doesn't quite justify the price tag or the relentless media attention that follows him. Let's talk facts. In 2021, Manchester City splashed $139 million to sign Grealish from Aston Villa, making him the most expensive British player at the time. For that kind of money, you'd expect a game changer, someone who consistently scores and assists at the highest level. But after 2 seasons at City, Grealish's stats were underwhelming. His debut season saw him contribute just a handful of goals and assists, far from the elite production expected from a record-breaking signing. Now, Grealish is undoubtedly skilled. His close control, ability to draw fouls, and creativity in tight spaces are undeniable. But too often, his performances are more about winning free kicks and holding the ball, rather than producing decisive moments that win games. He's flashy, sure, but flashy doesn't always equal effective, especially in a team stacked with world-class talent like City. While Grealish remains a fan favorite and a marketing goldmine, his actual impact on the pitch rarely matches the hype surrounding his. Until he consistently delivers in the biggest moments, Jack Grealish will continue to be seen as one of soccer's most overrated players. At number 5, we have Antoine Griezmann, a player whose career has been a roller coaster of highs and lows. Griezmann's talent is undeniable. He's quick, intelligent, and capable of scoring in clutch moments. But when you look at his overall career, the hype often outweighs his actual contributions, especially during his ill-fated stint at Barcelona. Griezmann's move to Barca in 2019 came with a $135 million price tag. The expectation that he'd seamlessly slot into one of the deadliest front lines in soccer, alongside Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. The reality? Griezmann struggled to find his place. His positioning clashed with Messi's, and he often looked like a square peg in a round hole, unable to replicate the form that made him a star at Atletico Madrid. In 2 seasons at Barcelona, his numbers were solid, but nowhere near what was expected from a player of his cost and caliber. The problem wasn't just stats, it was his influence in big game. Griezmann rarely stepped up in crucial Champions League moments, leaving fans questioning if he was ever truly the world-class forward the media portrayed him. Even after returning to Atletico, it became clear that while Griezmann is a talented forward, he's not the game-changing superstar many believed he was. Griezmann's reputation as one of the best forwards of his generation feels inflated by a few standout tournaments and highlight reels. For that reason, Antoine Griezmann lands firmly on our list of the most overrated soccer players of all time.